Jude Bellingham broke Norwegian hearts in extra time, and England are into the semi-finals of the 2026 World Cup. Welcome to FairPlay Football AI Review. This was a quarter-final with enormous weight on both sides. England arrived knowing that failure here would define Thomas Tuchel's reign, a squad stacked with Premier League talent, yet to fully convince on the international stage. Norway, meanwhile, carried the dreams of a nation that hadn't appeared at a World Cup since 1998 and had already produced the tournament's great underdog story by eliminating Brazil in the last 16. Something had to give. The pre-match storylines added another layer of tension. England were forced into defensive reshuffling, with Jarell Quansah suspended after his red card against Mexico and Reece James still not fully fit, leaving Ezri Konsa to cover at right back. For Norway, Ståle Solbakken made just one change from the Brazil win, bringing Andreas Schjelderup into the front three in place of Antonio Nusa, a selection that would prove utterly decisive. Solbakken's Norway set up in a 4-3-3 designed to press high, win the ball in dangerous areas, and funnel everything through Martin Ødegaard's creativity in the middle third. The wide forwards were asked to cut inside and create overloads, with the fullbacks providing width. Sander Berge sat deepest in midfield, a physical screen protecting the back four, while Patrick Berg and Ødegaard pushed on to connect with the front three. It was a compact, aggressive structure, built to disrupt rather than dominate. Thomas Tuchel countered with England's 4-2-3-1. Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson formed the double pivot, with Rice tasked with snuffing out Ødegaard's influence in the pockets between lines. Jude Bellingham operated as the number 10 with the freedom to drift, while Noni Madueke and Anthony Gordon gave width. Harry Kane led the line. The plan was clear: control the tempo, use England's technical quality in the midfield too to stifle Norway's press, and let Bellingham find space in the final third. The structural battle at the heart of this match was Ødegaard versus England's double pivot. Norway's captain was brilliant at dropping into the seams and threading passes, but whenever he found space, either Rice or Anderson was quick to press. The genuine mismatch came out wide, where Gordon was given unusual freedom in behind Julian Ryerson, and Madueke was stretching Norway's left side early. England controlled the shape better initially, but one moment of Norwegian magic changed everything. England's opening exchanges were authoritative. They moved the ball through Anderson and Rice with purpose, keeping possession in Norway's half and forcing Solbakken's high press to chase shadows. Kane dropped deep to link play. Gordon made his runs intelligently, and for the first 25 minutes, England looked every inch the side that had won 4 consecutive matches coming into this game. Norway struggled to impose their tempo, and Holland was remarkably isolated at center forward, touching the ball only a handful of times. Then came the 36th minute, and Andreas Schjelderup changed everything. Collecting the ball on the left flank from a pass by Ødegaard, Schjelderup drove inside, cutting onto his right, and then looping a stunning curling effort over Jordan Pickford that dipped in off the far post. It was a goal of pure audacity, the kind that silences a stadium and stops a match dead in its tracks. Against the run of play, against all expectations in this half, Norway were ahead. England's response was almost immediate. Just before the whistle for halftime, Anthony Gordon played a sharp low pass into the penalty area. Bellingham met it in stride, skipped past Torbjørn Hegem with a feint, and arrowed a composed low shot into the far corner. The ball barely left the ground. From 15 yards it was executed with the coolness of a man who had scored in the biggest moments all tournament. England went into the break level, and the momentum had shifted entirely. The half had produced 2 goals and genuine drama, but several other moments deserved recognition. Kristoffer Ajer rattled the woodwork for Norway with a surging run from deep, and Patrick Berg tested Pickford with a snapshot from distance that was pushed away well. At the other end, Harry Kane had 2 sights of goal from central areas and was denied by Ørjan Nyland on both occasions, Nyland's reflexes keeping Norway very much in it. The halftime picture was fascinating. Norway had the lead twice in the narrative sense. Bellingham's equaliser came as almost an afterthought, But the Norwegian back four had shown vulnerability to Gordon's movement. Solbakken needed more defensive solidity. Tuchel needed to find a way to break Norway's high-energy press without Declan Rice if he chose to change things in the second half. Both managers went in with decisions to make. Tuchel went first and went boldly, making a double substitution at the interval. Bukayo Saka came on for Noni Madueke, immediately adding directness and penetration down England's right side. Simultaneously, Ebereki Eze replaced Declan Rice, a hugely significant tactical shift that changed England's midfield from a defensive anchor plus creator to two attacking midfielders. Tuchel clearly decided to go for the win rather than protect the draw. The impact of Saka's introduction was immediate. England's right side came alive in a way it simply hadn't in the first 45 minutes. Saka took on Ryerson repeatedly, forcing Norway back into their own half and dragging Solbakken's shape out of the high press. Within minutes of the restart, Norway's defensive block had dropped 15 yards deeper, surrendering the midfield territory they had worked hard to claim. Solbakken responded at the hour mark, bringing on Fredrik Aursnes for Julian Ryerson, possibly forced by a knock to the full back. The change added a combative midfield presence, but Aursnes was dropped deeper than intended to cover the space Saka was exploiting. At 68 minutes, Solbakken made two further changes, Oscar Bob replacing Alexander Sørloth and Antonio Nusa coming on for goal-scorer Schjelderup. Norway were chasing fresh legs, but losing their goal hero felt like a psychological blow. Tuchel then made his third change of the match, bringing Reece James on for Anthony Gordon at 71 minutes. Gordon had been excellent in the first half, providing the assist for Bellingham's equaliser and stretching Norway repeatedly, but with James now fit enough to contribute from the bench. Tuchel wanted his experience down the right and Saka pushed more centrally. The back four became more stable as a result. The second half at 90 minutes remained level after Norway showed genuine resilience. Nyland was outstanding, making 6 saves across the 90 minutes, and Norway's backline, reshuffled with substitutes and increasingly stretched, somehow held firm. Both sides were physically depleted in the Miami heat, with humidity touching 73% in what was already a punishing evening. Nyland's save from Kane in the dying seconds of normal time drew an enormous roar from the Norwegian supporters. Extra time opened cautiously. Both teams were clearly feeling the physical toll. The high press that had defined Norway's approach in the first half was completely gone, replaced by a low block and quick transition play. England kept the ball better with Eze linking neatly in narrow spaces, while Norway's best threats came from Antonio Nusa, who had the energy of a fresh substitute and drove at Konsa 3 times in the first period of extra time. The moment that settled the World Cup quarter-final arrived in the 93rd minute, 3 minutes into extra time. Kane rose to meet a Saka delivery and headed firmly at goal. Nyland got down well to save. The ball broke to Morgan Rogers, the Aston Villa man just introduced as a substitute, who unleashed a powerful low drive. Nyland couldn't hold it, spilling the ball directly into Bellingham's path. He had been tracking the play instinctively and slammed the rebound into the net, his second goal of the night, and one of the most important goals in England's recent history. Extra time wound down with Norway throwing bodies forward and England's late substitutions, Dan Burn coming on for Bellingham himself at 111 minutes, designed to add defensive bulk. Jørgen Strand Larsen replaced Erling Haaland at 106 minutes, Solbakken acknowledging that his talisman had precious little impact on proceedings, just 13 passes completed all evening. Norway created half chances, but lacked the quality to equalize a second time. Kristoffer Ajer was booked at 117 minutes for arguing after what he felt was a foul on a Norwegian attacker, his frustration entirely understandable given the circumstances. Now to the numbers. England edged possession at 52% to 48%, with 628 passes to Norway's 577. England's pass accuracy of 90% compared to Norway's 86% was significant. It meant that even under pressure, England could keep the ball and slow the game to their own tempo. Those possession figures, however modest on paper, masked just how dominant England were in pockets of the second half and extra time. In terms of attacking threat, the picture was close but revealing. England registered 14 shots to Norway's 13, but England's 8 shots on target against Norway's 4 tells the real story. England's expected goals figure of 0.82 narrowly exceeded Norway's 0.76. Statistically, the two teams were almost inseparable, which explains why this required extra time. Bellingham alone had 5 shots and created from every position he occupied. Defensively, Mark Guehi and John Stones were outstanding for England, composed, dominant in the air, and rarely troubled by Holland. Nyland was Norway's best defender, stopping 3 England goals across 90 minutes with 6 saves overall. Norway's back 4, reshuffled with substitutes from the 60-minute mark, showed commendable organization but was ultimately broken by Bellingham's streetwise instincts late in extra time rather than any tactical failure. Jude Bellingham was, without question, the outstanding player on the pitch. 2 goals, 5 shots, 2 on target, and a work rate that covered every inch of Miami's playing surface. His first goal was technically brilliant. The turn past Hegem and the low finish into the far corner. His second was all instinct, reading the rebound before anyone else had processed the situation. At 22 years of age, Bellingham is delivering at a World Cup quarter-final with the composure of a seasoned winner. For Norway, Martin Ødegaard was magnificent in his creative role, 93 passes completed, 1 assist, and a constant presence linking Holland with the midfield. His delivery for Schjelderup's opener was inch-perfect, finding his teammate in precisely the space where England were vulnerable. Ødegaard's ability to operate between England's lines was the one tactical problem Tuchel's double pivot never fully solved. The underperformer of this match was Erling Haaland. 7 tournament goals, but tonight he was a peripheral figure, just 13 passes, 2 shots, and no real involvement in anything that mattered. England's central defenders kept him so effectively isolated that he spent the entire match operating on scraps. He was replaced at 106 minutes without having genuinely threatened Pickford. For a player of his ability on the grandest stage, it was a rare and visible off night. Tactically, Thomas Tuchel got the big calls right when it mattered. The double substitution at halftime transformed England. Sacrificing Rice for Eze was brave given the lead was level, but it injected the creativity that unlocked Norway in the second half. Solbakken, for his part, was tactically astute throughout, and his use of the bench injected fresh energy. But losing Schjelderup, the match's best attacker, at 68 minutes cost Norway the cutting edge they needed to find a winner. The head-to-head record between these nations tells a clear story. With just this one meeting in our recent data set, England emerged victorious after extra time, but the margin of 1 goal across 120 minutes suggests Norway pushed them every inch of the way. What this match confirmed is that Norway are no longer an afterthought in international football. They arrived in Miami as the real deal, and they leave with their heads high. Norway's run to this point had been remarkable. 5 wins from their last 9 competitive fixtures before today, including a famous victory over Brazil in the last 16. Their group stage saw them beat Iraq and Italy, the latter a statement result, though a 4-1 defeat to France exposed questions about their defensive fragility against elite opponents. Tonight confirmed that fragility is still present at the highest level. England entered this match on 4 successive wins, including victories over Mexico, Congo DR, and Panama in the tournament. The one blemish was a draw with Ghana in the group stage. Their form had been building, and Tuchel had found a rhythm with his squad that suggested this team had genuine semi-final quality. The key question after tonight is whether they can sustain this across another 90 minutes against different opposition. Norway are eliminated. That word barely does justice to what they achieved at this World Cup. A first appearance since 1998. A first quarter-final in the nation's history, and a result that will be talked about in Norwegian football for generations. Ståle Solbakken built something extraordinary in Miami. Their future with this generation of players is genuinely exciting. England move on to face Argentina in the semi-final on July 15th. Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe's France are also in the draw, a potential final of extraordinary magnitude. Tuchel will need Bellingham at his very best again because Argentina arrive at this tournament with 8 goals from Messi alone and a squad that has navigated every challenge placed in front of it. The prediction is clear. England have the squad depth, the tactical flexibility, and the individual brilliance in Bellingham to reach a World Cup final. But Argentina represent the sternest test imaginable, and on a night of extra time and squeezed margins, England will need more than luck. They will need Bellingham to again be the difference between glory and elimination. This was a match that had everything: a stunning goal against the run of play, a last-minute equaliser, extra-time drama, and a rebound finish that ended Norway's incredible story. England survived, but only just, and that vulnerability needs addressing before Argentina come calling. Jude Bellingham was the difference tonight, twice, and England should count themselves fortunate to have him. There is so much more still to come in this tournament. Argentina versus England in the semi-finals of the 2026 World Cup. This is the fixture the football world has been waiting for. We will have full analysis, tactical breakdowns, and everything you need right here. Until then, this has been FairPlay. That's the FairPlay verdict on this one. If you want more analysis like this, follow us. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at FairPlay AI, and follow Anthony personally on X at Anthony Fairplay. See you next match.